Hey, what's going on YouTube? BD Kane 721. Happy Monday. It is President's Day, and yes, I am at the office working. I'm not lucky enough to have the day off, so I took my day off actually on Friday when I went to the West Coast Card Show, which is the reason for today's video. I have a couple of videos I want to do this week. The other one is going to be on the YouTube Hall of Fame voting. I have my ballot ready to go, and I want to get that up on the channel here this week, so stay tuned for that later this week. But yes, today is about the West Coast Card Show. I've got a few things here I want to show you that I picked up at the show. First, I want to talk about the show a little bit. I am a big fan of this show. I've been telling people for probably a couple of years now that this show is very well attended and worth your time if you're in the area to come and visit the show. And I think some people took me up on that this year, to be honest. There were a lot of YouTubers out there that came to the show. I only spent one day there. I only had time this weekend for one day, and I was there the entire day and met up with a lot of different YouTubers that I was really excited to see. The unfortunate thing for me, I knew this was going to happen. I'm so mad at myself. I forgot to take photos and videos, and I said that in one of my previous videos that I was going to do that. And I even reminded myself before I left to go to the show on Friday morning that don't forget to take photos and videos. And of course I did. I get too excited about these shows, especially when I'm going to see some friends from the community and catch up with them. So unfortunately, I don't have any photos or videos. I do have this one. It's a shot of the convention center as I was walking out. And I remembered that I forgot to take video and photos right at that moment. So I just turned around and took a shot of it to prove that I was there. But the day was great. I was there. I was literally on my feet for like 8 hours just walking around. I think I walked about 4 miles at this show. I went around the show at least twice, probably almost a third time at the end. And I was exhausted. I was so exhausted from the show, so sore and so, I don't know, exhausted is probably the word. That when I left the show and went back to my car, I really wasn't feeling that great. And I still had a 2-hour drive back to my house in San Diego. So I just texted the guys that were headed out to the YouTube get-together that I wasn't going to be able to make it. And I was really sorry about it. I probably should have maybe had more water during the day. I didn't eat a lot during the day. So some lessons, some hard lessons to learn, you know, when you're doing that sort of thing for an 8-hour stretch, and especially when you get a little older, like some of us are. So other than that, I met up with Ken over at Ken's Cardboard. I submitted some cards with him at PSA. I saw George over at Diamond Yard Sports Cards once again. He was set up as a dealer. Thank you, George, for spending some time with me once again. You always seem to make some time for me to catch up and talk about the show or the hobby. I really appreciate that. I finally got to meet one of my idols here in YouTube land, in our community. And that's Geez Mikey. I have been wanting to say hello to him for many years now, actually. I've been watching his channel for many years. He's been one of the biggest inspirations of my collection all this time. And I finally got a chance to run into him. So thank you, Mikey, for spending some time with me. Appreciate that. I saw Greg from Midlife Sports Cards. I got to meet him. That was an honor to meet him. He actually shared a story about a very special Machado card that I'm hoping to keep in touch with him about and maybe have a chance to acquire someday. I finally met Dylan from Double D Vintage Baseball Cards. That was a treat. I not had a chance to meet him before. I got to meet Mike Petty and I saw Rick from Vintage Oddball Cards. So many great YouTubers, a lot of West Coasters out here that came to the show. So I miss Pepino Man. He was there, and I just didn't happen to run into him. But I still need to meet him one of these days. So if you're watching, SA, I'll be looking for you next time. So a lot of great stuff, a lot of great people. If you haven't checked out their channels, all those people I mentioned, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some people that I also met at the show, and I probably would have met more if I was able to make it to the YouTube get-together. So in any case, it was a lot of fun. I picked up some cards. I had a budget that I wanted to stick to, and I pretty much nailed the budget as far as what I wanted to spend on Friday. So I'm going to turn the camera around and give you guys a peek at what I picked up. And yeah, so stick around. I'll be back in a sec. Thanks everyone for sticking around. I appreciate it. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. As you can see, I've got a hobby box of Topps Series 1 from 2026. I bought this at the show because I find, and maybe a lot of you guys out there will agree with me, that if you're going to buy unopened stuff like this, like new products or relatively new products, going to shows and buying them at shows is always a good idea. You're gonna get the best prices at shows versus buying them on eBay or other places. So I highly recommend it. I got this box for a little less than what they're going for on eBay, so I'm kind of excited about that. I will make a video at some point on opening that and getting some impressions on the new product for this year, so I am looking forward to that. I did get in the mail over the weekend a package from somebody who sold me some 65 Topps cards. And I got these cards through a connection in the hobby or in the community as typical. And that is my good buddy James over at Elite Hunters. He put me in touch with a guy who was selling some 65 stuff. And he even took the time, James took the time of going through the cards and picking out the ones that he felt were going to meet the requirements of the set that I'm putting together. So thank you, James, for that. Huge thanks for putting that effort in. These cards look great. I got 14 from this particular seller for a really good price. So I'm really happy to get those into the collection. I did pick up some 65s from the West Coast Card Show that I'll show in here in a minute. And this will bring my total. I'll tell you what the total is after I show you the cards from the show, but I'm past the halfway mark on this set already, so I'm really excited about that. But those will be going into the binder here pretty soon. All right. As I mentioned, I met up with Ken from Ken's Cardboard to submit some plans to PSA. And as soon as I got to the show, he was in line at PSA and met him there. And he greeted me with a birthday present, a belated birthday present. This launched into orbit Machado card from this past year's Topps Chrome Cosmic. Really appreciate that. Thank you for thinking of me, Ken. My birthday is almost 2 months old now, so that was very nice of you to give that card to me for the birthday. So that's going to go into the Machado PC. The 65 set cards that I got it several. I could have gotten a lot more. If my budget was higher, I probably could have really come home with a huge stack of 65s. There were at least 3 or 4 dealers that had some really nice ones that would have fit my collection in the best way. So I picked up, let's see here. I got one card here, too many. Okay, there we go. So I went to one dealer, got a stack of cards from him. And then I picked up a couple of cards here in the back that I'll show that were from separate dealers for separate deals. So these cards were all about $4 or $5 a piece, depending on which one we're talking about. I think there was a couple of high numbers in here. So nice looking cards. I probably could have bought most of the stuff he had there if I really just wanted to focus on 65s, and I would have done that. So that was the stack I got from them. Then I went on to another table. I came across this one here, and I'm probably going to butcher the name. I've heard the name many times over the years. I've never had any reason to pronounce this guy's name because I don't collect vintage cards, and I don't collect Red Sox cards. So Tony Conigliaro, I think is how you pronounce it. Pretty important person in the history of the Red Sox from what I've been told, but this 65 card is gorgeous. It's got the All-Star Rookie Cup on it, which is really fun to see that they were still doing that back then in the years past. So it's nice to see that. But this card is in great shape, so I'm very happy to have to get that for a really good price. The dealer gave me an awesome price on that. And then the best 65 card that I got this trip is this really nice Joe Morgan rookie card. Now, this one, I was a little skeptical about it because it was sitting in a case with a lot of modern cards. And I've always been told that you have to watch out for people who are selling modern and vintage at the same time. But it looked great. He allowed me to take it out of the top loader that it was in to take a look at it more closely, and gave me a decent price on it. The one thing I do notice from this card, and maybe if you vintage guys out there can tell me or not, whether or not the Joe Morgan's photo is a little blurrier than most other cards of the 65 set. That's the one thing I noticed that I was a little worried about. I don't know. When you look at these two cards side by side, you can see the photo of Don Clendenon's card, or even Tony's card over here, looks a lot sharper. So not sure if that's a red flag or not. So any of you guys out there that might be watching this video, let me know what you think. If that's just the normal, that's just normal for that card, I would appreciate that. So those were the 65 cards that I picked up. Very happy to get those into the collection. I now have 309 cards in that set. So I'm over halfway there. There's 598 cards. So I'm well on my way to completing that with some big boys already in hand. So I will, I'll probably do an update video on that at some point. All right, what modern cards did I get? I picked up only a couple of big ones for my collection. I'm a huge Buster Posey fan, as you all know, or maybe you've caught on over the years. So I saw these cards sitting in sort of a value box / just sitting on the table kind of thing. This is a 2017 opening day blue foil and a 2019 Topps Gold. Just a couple cards to put in the collection for a few bucks each. It was kind of a nice to get those, since he'll be a Hall of Famer here pretty soon. I did pick up, of course, these days I'm looking for Jackson Merrill rookies. Any that I can pick up. This is just a fantastic looking one. Again, this goes back to the Bowman's Best card designs that I really like over the last few years and have gotten more and more into as I see them. And this just has an incredible amount of sign. This one's numbered. Where's the numbering? It's hard to see it sometimes. There it is, 299. It's numbered out of 299, but it's from 2024. Bowman's Best. Just an awesome looking card of Jackson Merrill. We'll continue to put cards of his into the collection as I come across them. I did pick up a Soto card, but not in a Padre uniform. This card just looked really cool, had a great price tag on it. So made a deal. Actually, the same dealer I got both of these cards from, so I made a good deal on both of them. And I don't mind Soto in a Nationals uniform. I'm probably not going to collect too much of his in a Yankees or Mets uniform, but this is number 10 out of 50. Expose from Topps Chrome in 2022. So just a cool looking card. Thought it looked nice in the Soto collection, which is not huge in my world, but still like having a lot of his stuff. All right, and then the two big ones that I made, or that I purchased, the two that put me probably over my budget a little bit. I am a huge fan of this player. I think this player is going to have a tremendous year in 2026. And I'm even going to go out on a limb and say that he has a legitimate shot at winning the MVP for the American League over Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh and anybody else. And I think he might have been in the top 3 or 5 of the voting last year. And that's Bobby Witt Jr. This is 2024 Topps Orange Foil, which is numbered out of 25. 11 of 25. Just a sharp looking card of a stud player in the league. Too bad he plays for Kansas City. But, you know, that happens a lot in the league. You get guys that are this good that play for small market teams. and don't get a lot of exposure. So I'm hoping the team does well this year and gets some more exposure, because he is one of the studs in the league that gets, I don't know if he gets the respect he deserves yet, but he is still fairly young. He was born, when was he born? Does it say here? In 2000. So he's not even 26 yet. So I think he's still 25. Just a great looking card, numbered out of 25. Love that card. Going to try to buy some more Bobby Witt stuff if I can find it. If I can find a bunch of his stuff. But there are a lot of Bobby Witt Jr. fans out there. All right. And then the last card that I picked up at the show, or well, it wasn't the last card I picked up, but it was, for me, it was the best card I picked up. And of course, I can't go to a show and not look, especially in Southern California, and not look for a Machado card for the PC. I went around, like I said, I went around twice, probably almost 3 times around the show. I didn't see a lot of Machado stuff. Saw some. Saw a ton of Dodger things. A ton of Otanis. The Otani market, I could probably spend another 20 minutes talking about the Otani market. But I came across this card. The guy said he literally just put it out in the next wave of cards into his case. And I had to have it. I had to get it. And it cost me a little bit more than I'd want to spend for a card like this, but it's going to a good home. 2024 Topps Chrome. This is the logo Refractor, red, numbered out of 5. This is 4 of 5 of Manny Machado. Just a great shot of him. Love the low number reds. I look for these as much as possible. And when you see one in the wild, you got to pick it up if you're a serious Machado collector, or any player. If you're a serious collector, these are the kind of cards that you should be picking up. Obviously, I would love it to be an auto or some other version, but this is just a sweet-looking card. Probably considered a grade-worthy card. I did look at it a little bit at home. I think it's worth sending off at some point. But there is a little bit of whiting on the back corners, especially the 2 that have the brown border. So I'm not really sure if I'll take that chance. I don't know how much PSA really dings you for corners on the back, but everything else looked really sharp. Centering's really good on this card. So happy to get that in collection. That's going to go right into the new Machado binder that I showed on the channel not that long ago. And that's it. That's my haul for the 2026 West Coast Card Show, I guess. I call it the National. They'll have another one in August. And looking forward to that. That one's in Anaheim, which is a little bit more difficult to get to for me. I don't like it as much as the one in Ontario, to be quite honest. But I still will end up going. All right, guys. I will be back later this week with my YouTube Hall of Fame ballot. So look out for that. Have a good day off if you're lucky enough to have today off. And a good rest of your week. Talk to you soon. See ya.